Hello everyone and welcome to another Starcraft 2 replay. This one's going to take place on Metalopolis. I'm spawning as the red Terran in the 9 o'clock position, and in the 3 o'clock position we have Sheer Will, the blue Protoss opponent. And this was my least favorite matchup possible. Facing Protoss on Metalopolis being cross-map. But I found a way to turn this basically from losing all the time into winning all the time. So, yeah, basically my problem with Protoss in this map is it's such a long rush distance that it takes a long time to get there and a long distance to reinforce my army, and it's really hard to do that 2-base push I like to do. And then once he has either Colossi or Storm, it's such a major issue because this whole map is like tight choke points, so the chance of getting a good flank or snipe on a Colossus is nearly impossible. It's just so easy for them to hide behind their gateway units. So then, even having a greater economy, I just find I just start losing every single battle, and then like, okay, maybe if we went Storm and I got some lucky EMPs, I could win, but mostly I would just always lose a Protoss in this map. So the way I transitioned is to turn all these choke points to my favor rather than my disadvantage. And we'll see how that goes as we get into this. But while the match is a little bit stale here, I do want to mention something. I was watching a video series called When Cheese Fails by on a YouTube channel called Lag TV, Likes a Glitch TV or something. So yeah, I was watching this When Cheese Fails series, and I found it very entertaining when I was watching it. And the other thing I was thinking when I was watching it is, man, do I have the perfect replay for these guys? So I actually submitted my own replay to them, and they casted that replay of mine. So I highly suggest you watch not only that one, but the entire When Cheese Fails series, if you just like, you know, fun color commentators, because they do quite a good job at being entertaining, at least. It's probably more, you know, Husky style than Day 9 style. You're not going to get the high analysis, but you don't want that when it's just like, you know, games involving cheese. So I'll post a link to that in the description. You can check it out there. I'm in episode 7. Yeah. So pretty early second gas from Protoss here. I haven't actually watched this replay before, but I can see he's going 1 gate, 2 gas. I wonder what his plan is here. At the same time, has he scouted? He has scouted. I've gone for 15 CC, so he's doing a tech response to a fast expand. That's kind of interesting. And we'll just speed up to 2 times just for a little while here. And I'm sitting on my initial scout. Yeah, usually when I finish this command center, that's the time I scout, and I find it times pretty well. Usually by the time I arrive at the opponent's base, it gives me a good idea what he's up to. However, it looks like I might get intercepted here if he's on attack move. Which he is. That's not good. Yeah. Well, that sucks. So I'm going to have to waste a scan or something on here. So I'm getting down my 2nd and 3rd barracks. I got the bunker ready. I think I just popped his probe, so he just found out I made a fortress at my fast expand. And it looks like he's going for fast Colossi. That's what the early gas is for. Less gateway units, more Colossi. I actually don't suggest that. The couple times I have faced it, I just found I've run it over. I get scared when I do my 2-base push because I see like, oh shoot, there's 5 Colossi there, but their gateway support is so minimal, like, especially after an EMP, it just evaporates, and then the Colossi are just all mine. Marauders just mow them all down. And it is a great feeling to make a Protoss army evaporate, because I find often the opposite is true, where my army just disappears to the Colossi splash, or to like this gigantic Psy Storm clump. But I am playing pretty blind here. Have I even scouted him? Let's get here. V. Yeah, I did throw down a scan, so
Upgrade
I saw
complete.
that he was going Colossus, which is all I really want to know. Just which tech route he's going. Is it going to be Void Ray, DT, Colossus, High Templar? And it looks like it's going to be Colossus. So, yeah. Probably, yeah, after these first 4 medevacs, it's probably going to switch it up to Vikings after that. Queuing up my army to the bottom of the ramp now, just because it still protects the ramp, and it saves me from getting, like, maybe force field up here, and while he snipes my fortress. I don't know. I just like having units at the bottom of my ramp once I feel secure at the top. And medevacs and ghost routes, I'm probably ready to push. My army count's a little small. I believe I forget to empty this barracks when I push out. Often when I push out, I will empty this barracks just so I have a larger 2-base push. So here we go. Here's my timing push. You know, I find this is kind of at my strongest point. 4 medevacs and 1-1 upgrades typically. Yep, 1-1 upgrades and ghosts. And I even got a good amount of Vikings now too. I think I got 4 Vikings in my pile, and I probably have 6 by the time I engage them, as long as I'm still creating from my starport, which I am. Snipe the pro to make this going out to make the 3rd base, but I decided not to push in on him. I haven't actually poked at his army yet, but I just feel, you know, this is just, I don't feel this timing. It's a high level metagame thing you guys just won't understand. On a side note, I also forgot to get all my upgrades. I don't have stim pack or anything, so yeah, that would be the real reason. Forgetting upgrades. Stim probably really important. Also not having combat shield or concussive shell sucks as well. However, I believe I'm sitting in his sight range, so he knows exactly where I am, which is not good.
I'm here in the shadows.
I mean, it's not like it's an easy engagement for him, especially when you would expect me to have stim pack. But at the same time, you never just want to give away free recon to your opponent. Here's the engagement. I do not have stim, so I'm just moving away. Let me slow this down. So just sniping the zealots as I run. And I think stim's just about to finish, so I'm going to try an engagement here. Yeah, there's a stim. Yeah. Everything just disappearing on my ground. Just everything. But at the same time, I did have a nice Viking count, and say goodbye to the Colossus as well. So I decided to pull back after I kill the Colossus, just because I don't believe. Yeah, just Marauders against a lot of Zealots, I don't think that would go very well for me. So I could have EMP'd. I don't know. Either way, I'm pretty happy with that engagement. I think the units lost tab. You can see he lost about 2,000 more than I did, which I'm quite happy with. I got my 3rd command center down. I'm ready to expand. Got my factory down here, checking for either a hidden 3rd or a 4th or 5th base from the Protoss opponent. Looks like he's taking his 3rd at his natural 3rd base. At the same time, I'm going to be floating up my command center to the high yield, and that will time about the same. However, I will have the high yield over him. Income tab, I got a nice lead on harvester count as well. One of the advantages of having the earlier expansion. One of the biggest criticisms of my build is that you do not get the extra mules, which is true. But that's also compensated by the fact that you get the 2nd command center earlier, so your SCV count will be much higher than any other sort of Terran build. So taking the high yield and queuing up my units to this zone to help protect. This combination of the fortress, I feel I can hold this base quite easily. Also, it's always a good idea to expand towards your opponents and use a planetary fortress. That way your army is closer in terms of attack distance. It's kind of in between your enemy and your more vulnerable bases, so it helps defend your bases back there, and just the combination of having a fortress up front, it allows you to hold it quite easily, even though it's close to your opponent's base. So I'm working on my 3-3 ops, which is nice. charge finishing up. I do concentrate a lot on Colossus and High Templar when I complain, but well, not complain, but talk about the strengths of Protoss versus Bio. But charge is another one that's really, really powerful. The difference between charge lots and no charge lots is gigantic. They do so much more damage in battles when you get the charge. And it's nothing to scoff at. Especially against Colossi, you want to go Marauder heavy, which just plays right into the hands of a Zealot heavy build. Here's another attack. And throwing down some EMPs, I still haven't stimmed yet though. I kind of did that in the wrong order. I got some good EMPs now, but only stimming now. A little late. I do take out the Colossi once again with my Viking count. Warping in a bunch of Zealots down here, and I'm down to just Marauders. This is not good. Gotta get out of here. So stim and run. That's how I flee. Landed these at an inopportune time. Now I gotta try to get them out of here without losing them all. Run. Let's rally Marines. Ooh, I saved one Viking. One's better than 0. That didn't go well though. Looks like it's still 2,000 resource difference, so okay, maybe it did go okay. I guess I did guess Colossi, but I did escape with a small remnants of an army. Throwing down a lot of gateways. And that's because you're switching to Templar attack. And with Templar, since you won't be really using the Robo, you need the extra gateways as your, Templar are your firepower units, and the gateway units are your support units, and it all comes from gateways, so the more warp gates the better. There's another couple more misrallied Marauders are just hanging out in the midst of this Protoss stuff and got out alive. That must have been on a dare or something. Storm almost complete. I looked like I was stockpiling some stuff, so I threw down a couple more expansions. Probably turn this one into an orbital. Probably turn this one into a planetary fortress. Just because if this is a fortress and the high yield's a fortress and my natural is a fortress, it's unlikely he'll split between all three of those and attack this base. And moving up once again. Looks like he's ready for me though. He's in position. He's got the photon cannons. Back up there since I was at faster times too. I'll at least have the battles at normal speed. At least I handle this I think a little bit better. I stim first. Yep, that's right. Now throw down the EMP. Ouch, now I take storm. Not good. Stim run, stim run. So that was definitely a painful battle. However, look at all those red units I'm going to be able to pull back and save. Ah, the wonders of medevacs. 3 medevacs of full energy. I bet you I'll drain them completely dry. So we got that units lost tab again. A little more balanced now. That 2,000 leads only up to 1,000. You can see I've lost a lot more units just because of the Marines falling. However, that was a fairly good distraction. I do have my planetary fortress up now, so I got a 4th and 5th base, which is nice. And at the same time, floating back my factory, and this is the transition I like to do now. Once I feel that my bio push isn't going to work, I'm trying to use these choke points against links. Specifically, what I do on Steps of War is I try to cut the map in half diagonally, like this way. So everything in the 9 o'clock through 2 o'clock is mine, and I give the rest to him. The only difference is I try to prevent him from ever mining this high yield. So I figure that gives me more resources, more bases, and an attack's coming in, so I'll end that thought right there. However, I do catch it with my ghost, playing nice EMP. I did suicide my ghost in the process. But wow, look at all those dry EMPs. So one of them has shields left. Pushing, getting a few kills here. Do eat the one EMP. Kind of kiting the zealots, and I decided to pull back, but that was all his storm energy. I could have kept pushing in. Does he have Kadarian Amulet? He does have Kadarian Amulet though, so any new Templari Orps in would be able to storm. But even still, I think that was a missed opportunity. And you can see I've now taken every base available to on my half of the screen, yet I have 2 more command centers out. And that is actually by design. What I'm doing now is I'm using these factories to build siege tanks. And we're going to split this map in half. We're going to split some siege tanks here, maybe some siege tanks up at my high yield, down in this area, and then the end to that is you want to have siege tanks up by these Zelnaga towers to snipe out all this mining. And same with these Zelnaga towers. And what are the command centers for? Well, since I'm going to have a maxed army, I'm just about there, I'm going to use them to help defend these 2 pathways, this one, and in turn defend the siege tanks I'm going to be putting up on the high ground. Obviously by turning these into planetary fortresses. Planetary fortri. Almost sounds like it could be a word. Slight oversaturation going on. Another large army coming out. I do have a little bit of a concave here, being up on both sides, but yeah, the micro and style is going to be a couple of desire. No EMPs going down, trying to get the stim going, but just eating storms all over the place. Jeez. I like how I storm dodge after the storm actually disappeared. And even though I have 3,000, I realized, you know what, I don't have the greatest production facilities here. Yeah, I mean, I got 10 barracks, but I could have more at this point. Obviously, one of the things you can do when you max out is throw down a lot more production facilities. That way you can remax quickly after a battle. Looks like he's going to be poking at this fortress, which isn't that important. That's almost dry, but that's going to be his target. Reinforcements are kind of getting funneled to the ramp, trying to micro-load so they actually attack instead of running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Bring in what I got from behind. Got the repair down, so the force is staying alive. A couple of good storms though are going to make those SCVs mostly disappear. Wow, look at the hit points. Dropping below 100, especially with 2 immortals, which snipe fortresses so quickly. But I do hold it, and that's the end of that army. That went badly for him. And you see he's lost 7,000 more resources than I have. It looks like he almost sniped his command center on the left, so I decided to upgrade it. And then he comes back and finishes it, so there's the extra 150. Annoying. You can see I did get a siege tank up on this ridge, so I've shut down the mining on 4 of these patches. Trying to re-scramble my SCVs here to get a little bit better even saturation across all my bases, throwing down a couple more command centers, because I'm probably going to try to wall off this side as well. And trying to keep on top of my siege tank production. Yeah, I do have them pumping out. There we go, this one's going to be in range of the Nexus. Also in range of some nice probes here. And now the Nexus. Well, okay, pylon first, whatever. So that is the end of the mining of this high yield. So I got my half the map, plus the high yield, he gets this half with no high yield. That is more or less my plan for this map. I mean, it is annoying that I feel I don't have like an option to like end this game quickly, but doing battles in fast motion. Remember I have it slowed down here. Yeah, but using siege tanks really makes all this choked off area really good for me. One thing to do, if you kite with your marauders versus these zealots, you actually get not only does it keep your Marauders alive, but it actually does splash damage to Zealots. And you might be thinking, how does kiting do splash damage to Zealots? Well, you'll see quite easily here. See, I start kiting the Zealots, and those storms don't end up being placed as well as you wanted them to be placed. It's almost always true. Every time I'm kiting, those storms always come down a little bit after you queue them up, and they'll end up hitting your own Zealots. It's a little bit better to start storm dodging here. I don't think I have the army left over to actually win this battle. However, I did decide to turn this into a fortress where it stood when I saw the army coming in, and it's going to pay for itself as it does hold back that rush. Starting my Viking production again, I believe, just for a couple of reasons. One, when everything gets split in half so evenly here, a lot of times they're thinking endgame and go a lot of carriers. And two, I figured he might tech switch back to Colossi again. Obviously he went away from them because I totally missed something. I'll just put in pick and pick. Oh, sorry. Yeah, one of the reasons he tech switched away is because I had the superior Viking count, and another reason is that I actually dropped his base up here, which I totally forgot to commentate. I didn't even see it, but I'll add it to the pick and pick later, so you guys have probably already seen it, unless I was lazy and didn't actually do it, which is definitely a possibility, so I shouldn't have actually said it out loud. Pushing up this side, not that smart. Got some siege blast, got some fortress blast, good splash damage all around. And the problem with Protoss here is he's actually dried up his 3 bases, and he hasn't been transitioning into more expansions. I've gone very defensive, you know, especially with all these like missile turrets and stuff, whatnot. This might seem like very noobish and overkill, but at the same time, it's nice not to have to worry about, you know, just some sort of random Zealot drop or Storm drop coming in here and cleaning up all these SCVs. I can keep my attention more centralized to the middle here. Yeah, so he's more or less taken himself out of the game by deciding not to continue a long-term economic build. I guess he decided just to go for a 3-base all-in, and just that did not go well for him. So he is coming back with his Colossi. The tech switch might help him. Let's see how it turns out. Do spawn him with my Marine there. Bad placement for a siege tank when he has Colossi. Obviously he has high ground sights, so you want your siege tank back more like here, somewhere at least at a stalker range. Get some concaves, good EMPs down, all those shields disappearing, and with a good amount of Marauders and 3-3, and even some Vikings on the field, that's the end of those Colossi. That's yeah, just to recap, this is more or less how I do this map now. Just try to split it in half when you cross map. Obviously, if it's like 12 o'clock versus 9 o'clock, I'm still thinking 2-base bio push with a close rush distance. But otherwise, I'm happy to expand to the high yields my third, get these expansions up fairly quickly, and really just try to cut the map in half. And then as you approach the your 200 supply, obviously you want to throw up a lot of production facilities. And at the same time, you can start working on these command centers to split the map in half. And my long-term plan, it will happen one day. But if he decides to sit back as well and take his bases, I have a plan. And that's, I'll have my 200 supply force, and I'm going to make about, I would say at least 15 command centers. And I'm going to do a mass planetary fortress attack in combination with my 200 supply, plus refuel from all these barracks, and totally try to completely overwhelm him with his mere 200 supply army. It's gonna happen. 200 supply army plus the 15 planetary fortresses. It'll work. And I think it's actually a valid strategy when you have the game at such a standstill by having it so defensive and cut in half like this. Anyways, I'm babbling at this point, so we'll jump into the thumbs up facts of the blah 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 blah. Thumbs up, blah, blah, okay, whatever. We're going on to the next thing.
The Yamato is loaded, and so am I.
Alright, for today's thumbs up fact of the day, we're going to look at one of those key upgrades that just happen to make a big difference. Right here we have, you can see that siege tanks do 35 damage to unarmored units, and we see that Zerglings have, where's their hit points? 35 hit points. So I'm going to charge these 20 Zerglings into 4 siege tanks and see what happens. This might vary based on the luck of the splash damage. But there you go, you can see that the 20 Zerglings didn't do a whole lot of damage. So, for that key upgrade, if you get the +1 Carapace on the Zergling, that means they'll take 2 shots to kill. The first shot from the tank will do 35 minus 1, 34 damage, and then if the siege tank targets it a second time, it'll actually do 1 damage, as it'll just do that 1 remaining hit point worth of damage to the Zergling. So turning them from a 1-shot into a 2-shot could make a giant difference. I'm not quite sure how this will work out. I haven't tested this yet, but we'll give it a shot. Bring down the Viking as a spotter, just so the tanks can fire from max range.
Certainly.
Alright, so let's do it. Same thing, A moving 20 Zerglings versus 4 siege tanks. And we can see that the fact that they can actually absorb 1 siege blast allows them to do much better. And wow, Zergling with 7 hit points is going to take this. How did it end up with 7 hit points? Well, that's because there's the splash damage isn't all 35 damage, it's like 35, then the next little range is 17 or something like that. I'm not quite sure exactly how it works, but the further you are from the actual place the siege tank hits, the less damage you actually take. So, another one of those key upgrades. I guess if you're against Zerglings, you can, or against siege tanks, you can get that +1. Right, thank you everyone, and goodbye.